Yo, what's up, dudes? This video is to go over Guardian Druid PvP, specifically to RBGs. So pretty much I'm gonna talk to you about what you're gonna need as far as talents, PvP talents, legendaries, gear, stat priority, rotation, all that good stuff, how to survive, how to use all your cooldowns. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So the first thing we're gonna go over is talents. So for talents in RBGs, this is pretty much what you're going to be running all the time for the most part. So Brambles is going to be number one at all times. There's a lot of reasons for this. One, obviously it being the AoE that it does to all the targets within range. But the main thing is, it's like if you're going to get capped on by like a rogue, the rogue can kidney you for 6 seconds, and you can brambles, and it'll actually tag the rogue while you're standing on the flag, so it won't let them actually cap it, because there is damage being done with brambles. Wild charge, I mean, this is probably one of the most versatile talents in the game for druids. You can get away from people with travel form. You can charge to someone in cat form. If you are in bear form, you can use it as a tool to kite by charging to an enemy that's farther away from the ones that are attacking you. If you're balance affinity, you can actually go moonkin form, and you can, it's kind of like a disengage for hunters. Now for the 30 talent row, it's very situational. You could either run balance affinity or resto affinity. I've been running Resto Affinity lately just because of the heals that it offers. Not specifically Rejuvenation, Swiftman, Wild Growth, all that stuff, but more or less the Ysera's Gift, that it heals you for 3% of your maximum health every 5 seconds. And if you're full, it also heals people around you. That's pretty huge, man. I like that a lot. Ursul's Vortex is also really good for like when you're doing flag maps and you're trying to get away from people. You could just Ursul's Vortex. That's huge. Now balance affinity, it's also situational, you know. Maybe you're running your strat, they want you to go ahead and spin mid in the Eye of the Storm, and you need to increase the range of all your abilities, and your Thrash is just going to be doing damage, and the AoE on the Thrash is going to be so huge with 3 yards additional on it. Like, I mean, yeah, Typhoon is also good. You could throw people off of like the top of Twin Peaks and whatnot. When in the Alliance side of the Twin Peaks, you can flap all the way down using Moonkin form. I mean, it's very situational, but for the most part, I like Resto Affinity, especially like when I'm sitting in a base. I could just clone the rogue that's trying to get me, or whatever the case may be. I could pop a Rejuve, then a Swiftman. I mean, it's situational. Now for the 35, I usually, if I know I'm going to be sitting a base, I'm going to run Mighty Bash. And if I'm going to be running an FC map, I'm going to be using Mass Entanglement. Mass Entanglement is huge when you're being chased. You could just, you know, cast it on multiple targets. As you can see what it says here, it roots the target and all the enemies within 15 yards. I mean, that's pretty big when you're doing FC maps. Now when you're guarding a base, this is good because you could just bash into clone, and by then your team should already peeled out. Incarnation, this is a no-brainer for this row. Like, I'm not even going to go into depth about these two right here, but Incarnation is just huge. We'll go more into it when we talk about the legendary that we use for Guardian and stuff, but yeah, definitely never run anything other than Incarnation here. Survival of the Fittest is huge also because it correlates to Incarnation. It reduces the bark skins, so the more bark skins you have, the more Incarnation procs you get. Rend and Tear is huge, considering that you're going to be going against 10 other enemies, well, 7 DPS or 6 DPS, sorry to be exact. You stack up all those thrashes, and this is the way to go for BGs. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and talk about PvP talents. So this is pretty much going to be what you're going to want to run as like a baseline. Now Emerald Slumber, I'm going to just start off with this one because I never change this out. I always use this in every single RBG. This is huge, man. If you don't know what this is, I'm going to put it to you in a simple way. It just resets your cooldown a lot quicker. So if your if your incarn is on cooldown for 2 minutes, you use this and it'll be up in 40 something, 50 something seconds. So this is big. Like when you ran across Warsong Gulch with the flag and you had to use incarn, you get back to your base, you wipe the enemy team and you don't have cooldowns, well, you use Emerald Slumber. And same thing, when somebody hits your base and you're guarding a base, you had to use incarn. Somebody peels out, they kill the person that was trying to take your base. If you don't have your cooldowns, well, you can use this and you'll get your cooldowns a lot quicker. So this is huge, man. This you're gonna want to run in every single situation. Toughness is another one that I never ever take off. This is big, especially when you're like sitting a node and somebody comes and, I don't know, kidneys you, and instead of it being a 6-second kidney, it's gonna be what, 3 point something seconds. So that's big. So you'll be able to, you know, moonfire the rogue or whatever the case may be. This is also good when you're running across the map with a flag and you don't have incarn. If the enemy team tries to hodge you or fear you or whatever the case may be, this will definitely play effect. It's kind of like the orc ratio. It's really good. Now, demoralizing roar, it's good. I like to use it especially in flag maps when I know that I'm gonna be holding a flag, and let's say I have 8 stacks on a flag. This is really good to use on cooldown. But let's talk about all the other PvP talents that we can use here. Master Shapeshifter, you're never gonna really run in RBGs. Den Mother, it's really not worth it. Demoralizing Roar we just spoke about. Raging Frenzy, this is nice, you know, because this is nice especially if you want to heal more or whatever the case may be, and or gain more armor, because if you use every time you use Frenzy, it generates 60 rage over 3 seconds, and all that rage can be used into like an Iron Fur. So this can be good for that. Sharpened Claws, I like to run this when I'm sitting bases, because it makes it easier for me to kill whoever is trying to attack the base that I'm currently on. Charging Bash, I mean, I never use this really. Entangling Claws, I mean, this is pretty much useless because you can always run Mass Entanglement. Overrun is nice, like for maps like Arathi Basin when you're sent to like Lumbermill. You could knock people off at Lumbermill. You can also knock people off at Warsong. You can knock people off at Twin Peaks, Eye of the Storm. I mean, you name it. This is a very situational one too. This is also another method of getting away from groups. You could, you know, overrun to another target that's farther away from where you're being attacked, and it's a way of kiting, I guess you could call it. Alpha Challenge, not really good for RBG because you're never in team fight. Malor and Swiftness, this is nice when you're doing FC maps. It's good, but I never really find myself in travel form too often, because at the higher MMR RBGs you're pretty much always getting tagged by the enemy team once they see you on the field. So this is nice when you know the team is going to be running a lot of slows. Let's say the team has a mage, or you know how that goes. So I mean, I don't really use it. I'm just telling you what I do and don't use. So this I don't use. Growth Protection I've used a couple of times, like when I'm sitting on cap because my team is about to kill the enemy EFC. I could use this around me and my healer, and as you can see, it reduces the damage taken by 40% from enemies outside the grove. So this is good depending on the comp that you run. Like if it's a heavy caster comp, like this will be, I could see how this can work, and I've done it. It works, but then again, this is what I run. Alright, so now we're going to be going over the conduits and the Soulbinds. So obviously for RBGs, main covenant you're going to be using for RBGs is Knife Fae. That being said, I mean, it's huge, man. It offers the Convoke the Spirits. We all know what Convoke the Spirits does. This is big. I like to use Convoke the Spirits when I see, like for example, if I'm in an FC map and I'm carrying the flag and I see a big push coming in, I just, I use Convoke, and it gives you all this mastery. It gives you all these stacks of Iron Fur. I mean, you name it. You get stacks of rejuvenation on you, regrowth, and then the redirected anima, which increases your health, and your mastery, which then in return increases your health even more. Not to mention it also heals you. So I mean, Convoke is huge, man. You could also use it while you're running down the field. You could use it in a big team fight if you're not being targeted, if you're spinning a node or whatever the case may be. It's just big. And Soul Shape, I mean, Soul Shape is hands down one of the best methods of kiting for us Guardian Druids, especially for FC maps. What I like to do is when I'm running down the field with a map with a flag, for example, I pop Incarn and then I just Soul Shape away. They can't stop me because of the legendary. We'll go into depth with that, but Soul Shape it's a huge kiting ability on top of all the other kiting methods that you have, like the Wild Charge and all that stuff we spoke about. That you're gonna want to go with Nia or Nia, and I've tested a lot of routes, and this seems to be the best working one for me. We already spoke about this. This is the redirected anima that you get every time you cast Convoke. Now, you're going to get an Endurance Conduit. Barkskin's cooldown is reduced by 22%. This is big. This is big considering that we have this, Survival of the Fittest. So your Barkskin, it's literally going to be a 30-second cooldown. That's massive, man. 30 seconds you get a Barkskin. Every 30 seconds you get a Barkskin that triggers your Incarn. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You're obligated to go with this, of course. For the first Finesse Conduit, I like to use the Tireless Pursuit. This is another way of being able to kite a lot quicker. I like this a lot. I went towards the right. You can go whichever route here. So the next one, we're going with Well-Honed Instincts. This is also huge. When you fall below 40% health, which is going to be happening very often, you cast a Frenzied Regeneration. And this happens every minute. So that's a third Frenzied Regeneration on top of what you already have here, which is 2 charges. So that's very, 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 very big. Huge. Now, we're going to go all the way to the left here just so that we can get another Endurance Conduit. And the one we're going to be getting is Innate Resolve. So Regrowth and Frenzied Regeneration healing is increased by 26% on yourself. That's big, considering that we're getting 3 procs of Frenzied. And on top of that, when we cast Convoke, it also gives us Regrowth all the time. So that Regrowth is going to be buffed by 26%. That's big. That's very, very big. We're going to go down this way. And to top it all off, obviously we're going to go with Conflux of the Elements. I mean, it's self-explanatory. It increases everything we just talked about by 33%. You're going to go to the right here. Survival's Rally. This is nice. This is pretty much another heal. So this is almost like, I'd say, another Frenzy, just not that good. Occurs every 60 seconds. Same thing as this. So that's big. I like to run for the last Finesse Conduit. I like to run Stampeding Roar, because it increases the radius, and the duration of it is increased by 33%. That's big, considering that we're in an RBG around a bunch of allies, you know, a bunch of people that are with us, a bunch of people that are playing. So I go with that. Born of the Wilds is not really, you know, it's whatever, I guess, but I don't run into that ever. This is useless because Rebirth can't be used. Let's talk about these right here. So Layered Main, I've done a lot of testing with this, and the chances of it actually applying 2 stacks it's just not worth it, man. It's not worth taking this over all the other 3 that we spoke about already. This is useless because you're pretty much, for the most part, always going to be in bear form. So this is pretty much useless, and when you're out of form, it's because you're running away from people. So I don't see a use in this. Now for the potency ones, these 2 right here, these work hand in hand if you want to do damage. These are good if you want to do damage. That'll be another video. That'll be an arena video that we talk about. I'll talk more in depth into these. But yeah, this is pretty much your basic. This is what you're going to be running all the time as far as Soulbinds and Conduits. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the legendary. Obviously, no brainer. We're going to go with Legacy of the Sleeper. There is nothing that compares to Legacy. I mean, your Incarnation, Guardian of Ursa, grants 25% increased damage, which is massive when you're just spamming Thrash. 15% Leech, which is huge considering how many people you have that you're able to see AoE on. And for the biggest one of them all, immunity to effects that cause loss of control of your character. So that means no fear, no blind, no hodge, no kidney shot, no asphyxiate, no ROP, Ring of Peace doesn't work. What else? No charge, no stormbolt, nothing. No CC can work on you. No clone, no hibernate, no scare beast. I mean, you name it. No frost trap. Anything that can stun you, cause loss of control, it won't work. Now, the only thing that will work is a kick. You can get kicked. I mean, it'll be pretty OP if you can't get kicked, but this is a no-brainer. You're gonna go for Legacy of the Sleeper all the time. Now, to go back on what I was talking about, the 2 set is casting Barkskin causes you to berserk for 4 seconds. Berserk is Incarn, pretty much when you're spec'd into Incarn. Every time you cast Barkskin, you cast Incarn as well for 4 seconds. So I'll do it here. See that? There's Incarn. And in that, when you have Incarn, you're also immune. So every time you cast Barkskin, you're immune for about 5 seconds. So think of how good, how much plays we can make with Barkskin. It's insane. You could, if a rogue saps you, if you're getting down to 2 seconds on that sap, you can Barkskin and they won't be able to sap you again. And guess what? The brambles will hit them, and then you could just get them from there. So that's massive, man. Now let's talk about the 4 set. So while you're berserked or Incarn, you radiate more AoE damage, so it'll be 971 cosmic damage to nearby enemies, and you heal yourself for 1101 every 0.9 seconds, pretty much 1 second. So I'll show you. You have Incarn here, and you get this right here. There it is. That's massive, man. On top of brambles, just a lot of damage, just a lot of AoE damage without even trying. That's, I mean, there's no explanation to, like I said, this legendary. This will be your main legendary, 100%. Do not choose anything else. Alright, so for your gear, let's start off with the stat priority. You're gonna want versatility, mastery, then haste, then crit. That's how it's gonna go. My stats are a little out of whack right now because it's the beginning of the new season. Your versatility, obviously you're gonna want to keep it above 30%. Mastery, try to keep it at 15, the least. All right, 15 and above. That's the sweet spot. Haste, I like to keep it at 10%. Crit just comes with whatever after you can get. So all your pieces, the main goal is to get verse and mastery. Now, as far as the 4 set, you're gonna want to get your 4 set on your head, your shoulders, your chest, and your hands. Alright, now we're on to the fun part. So let's go ahead and talk about rotation, how you're going to be using your cooldowns, and all that good stuff. So let's start off with the basic, the opener, right? So when you have a target, what you're going to want to do right off the rip is Barkskin. You're going to Barkskin. Why? Because you want to get these stacks of Thrash up as fast as possible and as quick as possible. So you Barkskin, Thrash 3 times, and there you have it. Now you have your Thrash stacks, as much as you can get. You can't get more than 3. Now you have 20 seconds to have it and to reset it. So after 20 seconds, you have to reset it so that it stays on. And mind you, this is happening to everything that's around you. You want to make sure that all your targets have Thrash on them with 3 stacks. Always make sure that that's a thing. Why? Because of this talent right here. Each stack of Thrash reduces the target's damage to you by 2% and increases your damage to them by 2%. Okay? So that when you Thrash, when you do Barkskin and you Thrash 3 times, you're going to have a whole lot of rage. Now it's very situational on what you can use it on. You could either use it on your Iron Fur or your Frenzied. What I usually do for my opener, when I get my 3 stacks of Thrash, I like to just use all that rage on all that Iron Fur. Okay? Now you saw I just got a Mango proc here. Every time you get a Mango proc, always use it. Always. Okay? Now, pretty much Guardian, all you're going to do with Guardian, keep Barkskin on cooldown. Right? Keep those Thrash stacks up. Moonfire, of course. Always Mango whenever it's up. You're going to Thrash, and you're going to Mango whenever it's up. avoid using Maul. Why? Because when you use Maul, you waste a whole lot of rage, and when you waste rage, you can't use your most important cooldowns, which is Frenzied and Iron Fur. Okay, so you're gonna rotate between Thrash. Well, keep your Thrash stacks, right? You're gonna Mangle whenever you can. You're gonna Moonfire, and then in between all of that, you're going to swipe. Okay. So keep everything on cooldown. See, there you go. Moonfire, obviously you're gonna do it once. Just keep it up, just like Thrash. Okay, so you're gonna want to keep Thrash and Moonfire up at all times. Mangle whenever you can, and swipe, swipe, swipe. Now watch what happens here. Watch what happens here when I use Bark Skin. All the cooldowns are reset. See that? Incarn. So let's talk about Incarnation, right? Let's talk about Incarn. When you use Incarn, the main thing that you're gonna do first, just like the mini, I call this a mini opener, a mini Incarn. You're going to Incarn, and you're gonna get all your Thrash stacks on all the targets that are around you, everybody, right? Whether you're running a flag, you're gonna make sure you get all those stacks on everybody. After that, you are going to start focusing on specific targets with Mango. Okay, that being said, this is why. If you read this, it says it causes your Mango to hit up to 3 targets and increases maximum health by 30%. This is big, okay? So I'll show you in front of me here. So Incarn, spam Thrash, right? Get your stacks on everybody, and you're doing this while running, and then now you're just going to Mango your life away. See, you see the left dummy, how he's taking damage as well from those Mangos? Look at that. See that? You see how the Thrash is coming to an end? Go ahead and Thrash again. Go ahead and Thrash again here too. Everybody is still with their Thrash stacks, and then you're just gonna Mango for the rest of the duration. That's pretty much what you do with Incarn, okay? Demoralizing Roar, if you're running it, you're gonna want to keep that on cooldown, okay? Always keep that on cooldown, especially when there's multiple targets on you. It helps your healers out at all times. Convoke, you're gonna want to use it. I like to use it personally if I'm doing a flag map. If I see they're pushing me, I convoke. I start getting ready. I start getting all these stacks, right? Now I'm big. Now I have a lot of health, and I got a lot of heals on me. I got Iron First for days, okay? And then you follow up with the rotations I told you about just a couple minutes ago, alright? Survival Instincts. This is important because Survival Instincts is a 2-minute cooldown. So you have to use it wisely. It's your biggest defense against whatever comes at you. Red Paladin Wings, a Rogue Burst, a Boomy Convoke that can't be stopped, DK Slappy Hands. All those big cooldowns, you're going to want to use this. Frenzied, you're going to use this. Obviously, you know when to use this. Don't use it if you're at 100% SP. It's useless, okay? Monitor your health. If you're getting low, I like to use this when I'm less than 40%. Why 40%? Well, because of this right here. If this triggers it when I'm less than 40, then I use that as a rule of thumb. When I'm less than 40% more or less right here, I use that. It's a big heal. You have your Ursouls. If you're getting chased, drop it, right? And if you're running the Mass Entanglement, if they get out of that, you can root them right afterwards, okay? Use your Roar with your team. That's huge. Go into Travel Form and Wild Charge. All those things are big. You're going to be wanting to use that, okay? I'm High Mountain Tauren. I really recommend High Mountain. It's really good. So I have another form of CC, or a method of getting away while I'm CCing them. So I get this, which stuns everybody in my path for 1.5 seconds. Okay? So that's that. Now, let's say you're covering a base, right? Let me see if I can find something that looks like a node here. I guess we could use this. Let's say this is a flag, right? You're stealth. You're going to want to be stealth. Whenever you're sitting a base, you're going to want to be stealthed at all times, okay? Let's say a rogue comes, drops a smoke, right? What you're going to want to do when you get up to that rogue, you're going to incapacitate Roar on that rogue, right? You're going to stay near him, and I'm going to explain why now. Stay near him, do the rotation I told you about, get the 3 stacks, right? He will either blind you or kidney you. The only thing that you trinket is a blind, okay? Do not trinket anything else but the blind. If he blinds you, let's say he blinds you, trinket, boom. You stay on him doing the rotation we talked about earlier. Now you don't have trinket. He will kidney you next. He will 6-second kidney you, but guess what? Remember what we were talking about brambles? And this is the flag. You stay on the flag. If you're stunned, you can use Barkskin in stun. A lot of people don't know that. When he kidneys you, you're gonna want a Barkskin. That brambles right there is gonna be hitting him for 10 seconds. He cannot cap. He will be obligated to just stealth. If he stays on you, right, by then he should be gone. And by then you should have already called for backup and whatnot. But if he continues, your last resort is Incarn, okay? Incarn lasts 30 seconds, so you have 30 seconds to spin that flag until somebody can come and help you out, okay? Pretty much your job as a tank at a base is just to spin that flag the whole time. You do not want to leave the flag for whatever reason. Just stay on the flag, spam swipe, spam thrash, okay? I know we talked about spamming mangle. It's situational. You could do that if you want to output damage, but when you're on the flag, I like to spam thrash, okay? I like to spam thrash, and I like to spam swipe because it prevents anybody from trying to ghost cap, okay? Now, one big important thing that I want to talk about is sleeper, right? When you're gonna use this, keep in mind 2 things. You cannot use it when Incarn is up. So if I have Incarn, I cannot use it. It won't let me. You have to wait till that goes off. If you don't, then you just wasted your slumber for 2 minutes, okay? That's that. So let me show you how it works. I'm gonna use a lot of my cooldowns here. Let me see, let's use another one of this. Let's use my trinket, let's use convoke, right? Let's use this. And those are pretty much your major cooldowns. Let's use Barkskin. Now let's get rid of Incarn because it won't let me use it. Anything else is fine. Now we sleep for 8 seconds. Watch all these cooldowns. Look at them go. Everything resets. Look at that. Everything resets. Look at that. See? It's a great spell. Now, one important thing. When you're channeling this, okay, you cannot cancel it. So don't do it when there's somebody at your base, because they will cap on you because you cannot cancel it. Don't be afraid to, if somebody comes and peels out for you, don't be afraid to get out of form, right? Heal them if you're running the Resto Affinity, right? Use your clones, use your CCs, use your kicks, right? Pay attention to what's around you. Kick soul rots, right? Kick fears, kick heals, kick convokes. Don't be afraid. You're not just a spinner, right? You're not just there to spin and press thrash and swipe like if you're brain dead. You're a team player. You're a tank. Like you're there to pretty much be the backbone of your team, right? You're expected to CC. You're expected to do all that good stuff too. You're a support role. You support your team. So that's another big tip that I want to give to you guys. Be very involved with your team fights and stuff. Communicate, call your kicks, call your clones, you know. Obviously don't get out of bear form when you have like 4 people on you and you're holding a flag, right? That's not smart at all. But when nobody's targeting you, you've already spun the flag, you're on the flag, and let's say your healer's getting tunneled by a warrior, you can go ahead and just, you know, clone them, clone the warrior, call it, if it's not on DR, obviously. I'm gonna give you a quick little brief on how to run, just a little example on how to run away from a team while you're carrying the flag. So obviously save your Incarn from when there's like more than 3, I'd say, on you. So you're gonna be stealthed, right? You're gonna be going up to the flag room, blah blah. You get when you're gonna get the flag, always Barkskin before, just so that if there's a rogue there, they can't sap you. So you're gonna go Barkskin, boom, get the flag, run away, right? Rogue's gonna be on you. You can roar if you want. Just keep running. Let's say 3 more people come at you. incarn, soul shape. Once you incarn, take advantage of soul shape because they can't slow you down, they can't grip you, they can't do anything. Soul shape away, right? By this point, that's your third soul shape. You're still running, you still have incarn, right? You can go travel form now, right? You can drop a vortex, which will slow whoever's behind you. You can wild charge, just keep running, right? And if you're running mass entanglement, you can root them behind you. And no, mind you, you still have dash, so you can dash away. And all this time, you can't be CC'd. And look how far I just ran. Imagine doing that in ABG. Now, obviously, keep in mind, have your healers to stay ahead of you at all time. If the healers are behind you, they can get intercepted, and you'll just LOS your healers, and eventually somebody will catch up to you, and then you'll die. So, you know, communicate with your healers. Let them know that you're going to be running through here. Hey, I'm going down tunnel. Meet me. Stay ahead of me. I'm going to incarn. Call your cooldowns. Call your cooldowns and ask for cooldowns as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think I went over everything. If you guys have any questions for anything else, feel free to write it in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. But yeah, that is my guide for Guardian Druid PvP for RBG specific. I will be doing a video on Arena, but as of right now, RBGs, that's what I mainly run. And yeah, guys, so thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video. I would highly appreciate it. And you guys have a great day. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Good luck.